Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and this is not unexpected. We heard just a few days ago that President Trump said that if Mexico continued aiding illegal immigrants from South America to go through Mexico and storm our borders, that tariffs would be imposed. It would start at 5% and may eventually reach 25% by the fall. At first, we know that President Lopez-Obrador criticized the America First policy, basically parroting every liberal mantra there is. But now it's a bit different. You see, now he has people coming to the U.S. to talk. What he knows is that if the tariffs are imposed, companies that have left the U.S. to go to Mexico to get cheaper labor will return. Now, it won't be instant because a 5% tariff is not going to be offset by returning to the U.S. for everyone. Some companies are going to say we can absorb this, raising our prices minimally, some not at all, possibly, and we can wait this out. Others are going to return faster. If it reaches October and 25% tariff, you're going to see them abandon Mexico to return to the U.S. We've already seen it with auto manufacturers coming back to the U.S., Detroit producing cars again. It's just basically a foregone conclusion that there's only two ways out of this. One, Mexico steps up and stops people traipsing the full length of their country to demand the U.S. not enforce our laws. Or option two, they don't do that, and we impose tariffs, and their economy suffers more and more and more until they have no choice but to completely capitulate. Lopez Obrador is, first and foremost, a politician from everything I've seen. He knows that he's not dealing with a politician. He knows he's dealing with someone who is not just going to say, oh, I'm sorry, this made you mad, I'll stop. He's not dealing with Barack Obama or Nancy Pelosi or Dianne Feinstein or Kamala Harris, Booker, Schumer, or any of them who will say, oh, we can't hurt your feelings. We'll stop this and we'll let everyone in. I just don't understand the mindset of anyone in charge of a country, anyone as an elected official, not putting their country first above others. It boggles the mind. Lopez Obrador should have a Mexico first policy, just as every other leader of a country should put their country first. Donald Trump is doing this for the first time in 30 some odd years, because after all, the last person to even approach this level was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan had been a politician for a short time as the governor of California before his election to the White House in 1980. Donald Trump was not a politician before this. He still isn't. And he is, in his own way, telling Lopez Obrador, put Mexico first. You can avoid these tariffs, which will hurt Mexico, by putting Mexico first and stopping them. You can put Mexico first by enforcing your immigration laws, which are horrible compared to the U.S. immigration laws. You see, if you enter Mexico illegally from the north, you're going to vanish into a Mexican prison. There are stories that all over of this happening. And now it's literally that. It's if you enter illegally from the north, you go to jail. If you enter illegally from the south and you're headed to the U.S. border, we will not stop you. Crime, disease, and so much more has risen with these 1,000+ person caravans marching through Mexico to demand we let them in. I do apologize for this, but I've told you before, I'm dealing with a sty that appears to be finally ending. But this is easy to stop for Lopez Obrador. All he needs to do is look at his country and realize that these caravans are hurting his country. It's not even about what they do when they get to the U.S. border. Look at Tijuana. Look at Acuna, Nuevo Laredo. Look at the southern cities where the caravans don't have any care or respect for anyone but themselves. So theft, breaking and entering, assault, sexual assaults, disease from these people who have brought whatever illnesses they had, all of it comes with them. And of course, the media is silent about this unless it can be used. You see, when they can say another migrant has died in American Border Patrol custody, they ignore that the person has had pneumonia for several weeks or months and marched the entire length of Mexico while sick with pneumonia. They ignore that the person arrived, in the case of the stillborn infant, that the mother arrived very, very sick and very, very pregnant, having marched the entire length of Mexico. Mexico is, in many places, a gorgeous country. When you get to the areas with the Inca and Maya and Aztec ruins and pyramids, it's amazing. When you get to the beaches of Cancun or Baja, it is a gorgeous country, and I will never say anything different. But there are a lot of places in Mexico where income is so low, it is a third world country. And those places are suffering the most. Because ironically, the people in those areas have the biggest hearts. They're the ones offering what little food they can to these people as they drag their diseased friends towards our border. And then we get stories where one of the supposed migrants or refugees complains about being handed dog food because she was given a couple of tortillas and some refried beans. That in itself should tell you that these people are not fleeing persecution. They are invading the U.S. If I left my country with everything I could carry and marched thousands of miles to beg for asylum, and someone offered me bread and water, I would happily take it. Because I know that that is going to sustain me for a little bit longer. Yet we get the woman who said that tortillas and beans is dog food, and then later on we found out she's been arrested for assault in Dallas. This has to stop. And there's a very simple solution to it, and that is President Lopez-Obrador enforces his laws. Tell his border patrol and his security forces on the southern border, stop letting them in. Turn them back. Tell his forces throughout the country, when you find them, we deport them. If they claim to be needing asylum, hear the case. If it's, I need asylum because I can't find a job, that's not a reason for asylum. If it's, I'm running away from people trying to kill me, that's different. Notice none of them are doing this. At one point, Mexico offered all of the migrants humanitarian visas for up to, I believe, a year, possibly two, to live and work in Mexico, and they were roundly turned down. No one is going to our consulates or our embassies to request asylum or to request permission to come to our country. They are marching to the southern border, where they know our men and women there to enforce our laws are overworked and overwhelmed, and they're hoping that they can slip through the cracks, because they know that for years under globalist rule in this country, it was, I'm sorry, you got into the country? Well, I'm going to arrest you for a little bit, and then I have to let you go, but please come to trial where we can deport you. They never do. If we simply stop allowing government benefits to go to people in the country illegally, most will leave. If we start punishing companies who hire them, those people who no longer have a way to get paid under the table will leave. If we start deporting and not allowing them to come back, those who go on to break further laws, like Zarate, I forget his full name, who murdered Kate Steinle, or the jackass who laughed about wanting to kill more California highway patrolmen, or the idiot who killed Corporal Singh. You come into our country illegally, you should be deported. If you manage to stick around and you let a murder or rape or assault or whatever, you don't go to our prisons. You get deported, and you get told if you come back, it will be instant prison, Sheriff Joe style. Maybe when the word gets out that they're not being turned loose in our cities, they're being turned away, and anyone who does get in and breaks the law is being turned out, and if they come back, they're put to hard labor. Maybe if that gets out, they'll start forming a queue, knocking on the door and saying, "May I please enter your country?" We are not turning away immigrants. We are turning away illegal immigrants. It's a term liberals won't use. Merit-based immigration has been the backbone of virtually every nation on this planet. When you look at the U.S., merit-based immigration brings us doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. It brings us people who want to have a work visa to come in, work for a bit, and go home. And they work in agriculture, they work in hospitality, they work in many other industries, and then they go home for a time. But if they do so legally and they do it via the right process, no one has a problem with it. It's the people who sneak in illegally breaking a law. And then they get government benefits, which should be illegal. And then they go on to do many other things which are illegal. No one talks about the fact that Kate Steinle was killed by an illegal immigrant who had stolen a firearm from an idiot who had a gun in his car and didn't lock it up. No one talks about that because that blows their gun control mantra out of the water, and it proves their open borders policy is crap. I don't know when it's going to end or what it's going to take. I hope President Lopez-Obrador does the right thing for his country and the right thing for ours and works with us to stop this madness. But only time will tell. I've talked long enough. Let me know what you think. As always, keep it civil. We do not learn from argument. We learn from debate. Please also remember to like and share the video as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you are among the first to know of all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.